terrible.
From a corner in Los Angeles, the other video that outraged the nation.
Basically, what was going on in this intersection, that everybody that came through here that was not black was in trouble.
If I'd come walking through on that day,
you would have got it
at that time.
Tonight, a special Nightline. Voices from the streets, the gangs that rule the toughest turf.
Hanging on the street, you were forced to be a convict. Running with gangs, starving for the conflict.
And from the pillars of the community. If you saw last Friday's broadcast, you didn't see the half of it.
You take 4 white men who beat this man, and he will never be the same, God knows, and you don't even lock them up.
We have a city that's burning to hell. We have a city that's going to hell.
Tonight, voices as you've rarely heard them before.
Chief. We'd rather have the inmates than have Daryl Gates and be living in the police states. No justice, no peace. First there was quiet, then there was a riot.
Thank you.
This is an ABC News Nightline Special Edition. Nightline in South Central. Now reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
This last weekend was different. I sat in a church basement after Nightline ended last Friday while a lot of very eloquent but angry people bounced their frustrations off me. It wasn't anything personal. I just happened to be the most visible white person around. You'll understand when you see it. And then on Saturday, I spent most of the afternoon with a bunch of murderers, drug dealers, robbers, and probably the architects of quite a few crimes I've never even thought of. And I'm only slightly embarrassed to say that I liked them very much and was extremely impressed with a great deal of what they had to say and the passion with which they said it. The 2 most violent gangs in Los Angeles, they have branches in other cities, but their roots are in L.A., the Crips and the Bloods have, for the time being at least, made peace. Why? Common enemy. Who? Some young men from the 8 Trey gangsters will tell you when we come back.
This is an ABC News Nightline Special Edition.
When the rage of blacks in Los Angeles exploded last week, it began at the corner of Normandy and Florence in south central Los Angeles. It was the flashpoint and the site of the most violent image, the beating of the truck driver. Where once there were thriving businesses, there are now scorched shells. We went there with members of the gang that rules the toughest corner in town.
If you're asking if there was any type of organization to what was going on out here, no. This was not talked about, other than the fact that numerous brothers and sisters, again, not only in this community, but other communities, said if they come down with a non-guilty verdict, it's on.
Now, Will Monster, probably the most famous piece of video, just as the beating of Rodney King became known worldwide. People saw it again and again and again and again. There was a piece of action that took place right behind me here in that intersection over there that has become almost as famous. And that is when a white trucker was pulled out of the cab of his truck and beaten nearly to death. Mm-hmm. Right? Now, I'm not going to ask you whether you were here, but I'm going to ask you whether you know what happened.
Yeah,
and why?
I know what happened. You got to understand that what the people saw was not the entire event. What they didn't see was 100 police that converged upon us on this corner right here and tried to manhandle our homeboys. You know, they had sisters in headlocks, and basically what happened was we weren't going for it. We weren't going out like Rodney King. So when we pushed them up out of here, after they escalated the violence, hyped up the tensions, they retreated. And what they left was a bunch of brothers and sisters out here in the street highly upset.
And what did that have to do with that trucker?
The trucker was not black. That's what had to do with it.
That's all he had to do, was not be black.
That was his claim to fame. He was not black.
I mean, that's pretty sad, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, you know? I mean, but isn't it pretty sad that Rodney King, that the pigs got off?
But at this point, all that came to mind was the oldest cliche in the book, 2 wrongs don't make a right. That trucker hadn't done anything to anyone in the neighborhood. He was just the wrong color in the wrong place at the wrong time. Everyone is quite willing to concede that.
But tensions were high, okay? Again, it was a volatile situation anyway, okay? Now, basically what was going on in this intersection, that everybody that came through here that was not black was in trouble.
If I'd come walking through on that day,
You would have got it too.
at that time,
You would have got it too.
I would have been killed.
Yeah. Possibly not killed. I mean, no one got murdered out here. Not that I know of, you know. But I believe that you would have got it too. Yes. You know, just as Rodney King got it as a black motorist in the middle of the night by all white officers.
Ask some of your homeboys to come join us here for a minute.
What's up, Steve?
We were just talking about what happened here, right, a couple of days ago when that white trucker got pulled out of the cab and got beaten up.
He knew better. He saw what was happening. He watched TV, watching those everybody else.
He should have known better.
He should have known better. We know better to go to Simi Valley, around with their trial. We can't go out there and express our feelings like we can out here.
When the police came with the force, they escalated everything right here. We live in this neighborhood. We're not gonna be pushed into our houses and watch little girls, mothers, you know what I'm saying, grabbed in headlocks, friends, you know, friends laid out on the street.
For nothing.
People got their clubs out just ready to bust us upside the head. How much of this can we take?
Rodney King took enough for all
Rodney
of it.
King took enough as it is. We're not going out like that.
We hold back all the time. Keep holding back for what? It's been 400 goddamn years now. We gonna hold back some more at the Rodney King. Everybody's innocent. More than obvious what happened. A bunch of rednecks had a KKK meeting. Let's go get some black men. He was the first black man they got. He wasn't on PCP, wasn't on nothing. It's like that trucker got his ass kicked. Oh, I thought he was on PCP. He came at me, I thought he was on PCP. I was whooping his ass for my life. That's right. And for my family life. So I saw white men in robes shooting and tearing up. And I was afraid.
That's what people saw here, was our soul responding to so much abuse over all these years. It blew up right here on this corner, Florence and Norman. That's what happened.
But what people saw when the trucker was pulled out of the truck was the same thing that people saw when Rodney King was beaten. They saw an act of random violence. And just, wait.
They know now they know how we felt.
That's right.
I said now, like you said,
now we beat one of theirs, and they know how we felt.
You know how those people was like appalled and how that trucker got beat?
Right.
Oh my God. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they was like shocked. And that's the same way we felt when Rodney King was down there getting beat.
This whole thing was a political move because it happened in Los Angeles, it happened in the Valley. Should have been in a courtroom with Rodney King's peers. You still understand how it gets shipped from Van Nuys to Simi Valley. Population, majority Caucasian. Where all the police live at? Simi Valley. How did that happen? The jury, was they from Simi Valley? Possibly they was from Simi Valley. Some of the kids or grandsons could have been police. See what I'm saying? Some of them could have been them, got them X's on their face, them triple K's. We don't never know. That's unfair, like man. That's not Rodney King's peers. It was nobody's peers.
And I think a lot of people around the country are saying the same thing that you were just saying. How did that trial get moved out to Simi Valley? A lot of people asking that question. A lot of people don't think that's fair.
Right now, then. Are we on TV?
We can't answer.
Well, go ahead and answer it.
Let's answer. Why did it get moved? Is that the question, really? You really ask me something that simple, that small. And we all know why it got moved. They could have had it downtown anywhere.
Anywhere, CCB.
Anywhere. Could have had it close to Rodney King's house. Maybe he would have went to trial then. White folk moved that for a reason. They didn't have to move it. They didn't have to move it. We could have had it right here, listen to everything, 28 days of all that old they was going through. Could have had it right here. We could have found him guilty on every charge. Everything would have been fine. In '65, we didn't have assault rifles, Uzis, hand grenades, bulletproof vests. We got them now. It's a whole new generation out here right now. A whole new generation. Not a generation of ass kicker takers, but it's giving out ass kickers now.
Crips, the Bloods, LAPD, and the Los Angeles Sheriffs. And we all the same. You can't stop a gang with a gang. Until you people realize that, it'll never change. The Crips, the Bloods, the LAPD, and the Los Angeles Sheriffs, we're all like the same boat.
The sheriffs and the pigs been working together for all these years. Now the Crips and the Bloods working together.
A lot of us as young blacks followed our parents' footsteps to try and be cool, go to school, get education until we got old enough to find out that's the worst thing you can have in the world is an education with no common sense. But now all of us with common sense are sticking together now. All the wars we've been fighting each other for nothing.
Believe in this. Be as one all the time. Crips and Bloods, Be one. Watch out for the police because they're gonna play a trick. They don't want us to be like this. They don't want this.
No, they don't want this.
They don't want this.
No, they don't want this.
They do not want this.
They don't want this.
They do not want this.
They don't want none of this.
No, they don't want this. No, they don't want this.
They don't want that.
They don't want that.
A little later in the broadcast, we'll spend some time with the Athens Park Bloods, but when we come back, a look at what happened in church Friday night after Nightline went off the air. Last Friday night, we were at the First AME Church in South Central Los Angeles. Somehow word got around that Nightline was having a town meeting, and about 150 people from the community showed up to take part. There was only one problem: we didn't know anything about it, and we didn't have enough time to let members of the audience participate. But once we were off the air, there was an extraordinary outpouring of emotion, and we kept rolling.
We have a city that's burning to hell. We have a city that's going to hell because a whole lot of things have not been done, ought to be done. Let's please, for once in our lives, act with some intelligence, and let's ask some questions and have a discussion that's going to get us somewhere. And not just other than just a feel-good session, so we can come and talk about how we jam Ted Koppel or some other kind of BS like that. Now, after having said that, I recognize the brother right there.
My point is more on the economic level, because we talk about the American pie and the frustration. And someone look at me and says he's articulate, he can speak. Like Willie over here has his JD, I have my MBA. But yet when people were looting, I tell you, I was almost foaming at the mouth. If I had a gun and if I was close to a television set, I would have grabbed one. I would have grabbed a hot box. But yet, something that was still instilled in me as a child told me not to. Right. What is happening is opportunities, and what you're in a position that maybe you can change that, or do you see that there's a lack of opportunities for not only blacks, but for those in other multi-ethnic groups?
Many of you, I'm sure, have read, Andrew Hacker's new book on black and white in America. He writes of an experiment that he conducted with his white classes, in which he went to them. And he said, now here's the deal. I'm the U.S. government, and I'm coming to you and I'm saying there's been a terrible mistake made. Effective today, all of you are black. You're going to look black, you're going to be black. Now, we recognize this was our mistake. We did something wrong, we turned you black, we don't know how we did it. How much do you think, because we want to compensate you for it, how much do you think it's worth to you to be black? You know what the class finally figured on as the value? $50 million each. $1 million a year. So when the problem is presented the right way, white people understand what it means to be black in the United States. White people understand that it puts you at an enormous disadvantage, that you're not operating on a level playing field. That doesn't help you out, but at least it is the beginning of understanding.
What I would like to ask, or what I'd like to hear from you, is what do you intend to do, or what have you ever done or plan to do to help prevent a problem like this? Because this is not just because of Rodney King. People in the black community my age and younger have hurts that go way back. I was raped when I was 12 years old, 3 blocks from my house, by whites. I have spent a lot of my time and a lot of my life trying to get rid of that, trying to live that down, and trying to not let it influence me about how I feel about whites. And I can honestly say that there are very many white people that have worked that hard. Okay, I have a job in aerospace. I was 38 years old before I got my degree, and I still fight a battle, not because I'm stupid or because I lack intelligence, but because I am 55 years old, I am female, and I am black.
Please, let's try to resist the temptation. You know, make your point in a hurry and then get to the question.
Ted Koppel, I walked around the block with you earlier today. My name is Mark Calloway.
Yes, ma'am.
And I realized that you have clout and status, especially with media and in Washington, D.C. And my comments are that if there's some way you can get some communication over to Mr. Bush, as long as he is in office, that these militia dollars that he's spending to send out the militia and create violence and more tension, that he calls it's going to be peace, and to do whatever he can at all cost for peace, if he can take some of those dollars, as you saw with me, that there was calm the next block over, take that money and turn it into the communities, because we sorely need money in the communities to rebuild and rebuild what's going on out here. If you could somehow get across to him through our leaders, through what we're trying to accomplish here, that we are not simply here to just speak out our own personal issues. It goes beyond that. We are people that need opportunities and jobs.
I really get concerned when we don't, take the opportunity to talk about how we can use power. Ted Koppel has a TV show and, of course, emerges as one of the most significant journalists with power in the country. But he really don't have any more power than we got. And let me tell you that. Until you internalize that and understand it, you'll be constantly asking Ted Koppel to get a message to Bush that you should be sending him. Now, wait just a minute. Wait just a minute. Just a minute. One thing that bothers me is when I recognize that our people don't understand our potential power. Brother, on Tuesday, the 3rd, when we have our primary election, 1/3 of my people are going to vote. About 1/3. Let me tell you something. The message to send to George Bush is to get his out of office. That's the message you got. And guess what? It is wonderful if Ted Koppel can come and cover and do that. But Ted Koppel is not going to change George Bush's mind. We are philosophically different. He is a right-wing conservative that does not care about you, does not care about us. He does not believe money should be spent on you and this community. He does not believe that the government has a responsibility to do something about our problems. It is not about convincing him, it's about getting rid of him. Okay? So, all that I say to you, and I'm very passionate about this, because I believe I'm a very powerful person. I believe that each of you are very powerful people. I believe collectively we can be magnificently powerful. But don't ever let me hear you believe that any one white man in America is more powerful than you are, okay?
When we come back, we go to the battlefield for a look through the eyes of gang members who live there, fight there, and often die there. What you lose first during even a few hours with the gangbangers is the easy stereotype. Not all the neighborhoods, for example, are slums. Some of the OGs, the original gangsters, as the inactive Crips and Bloods like to call themselves, are openly disgusted with the drive-by shootings in which innocent civilians are often maimed or killed. They're nostalgic for the old days when revenge killings took place face to face. Little Monster, he's the shorter man, is a killer. He was convicted on first-degree murder and 4 counts of attempted murder. He's also sold drugs over the years, has spent 2 years in junior college, and has a passion for reading. He's a Crip. Bone belongs to the Bloods. He won't talk about his criminal record, although he concedes having one. Bone prefers being referred to as a community activist. He's also a record producer. Some of his homeboys have formed a group, O.F.T.B, Operation From the Bottom.
If a brother's on the street, he's a criminal. When you're living in poverty, crazy you gotta be, cause ain't nobody out here looking out for me but me. And that's why the bottom posse's bitching. We're living in the projects, poverty stricken.
You'll be hearing more from O.F.T.B a little later.
Bone, introduce your friend over here, would you?
Okay, this is Frederick Cole, better known as Time Bomb, OG from Athens Park.
What's up, General Public?
Now, you were kind of surprised that I didn't know your name right away.
No, I just thought maybe you probably had heard it before, though.
Because?
Because of my background and my crime.
Tell me about your background and your crime.
I was involved in the shooting of one newscaster, Jerry Dunphy, in 1984. You know, I did 7.5 years in prison behind it. Nothing to be proud of, but that's why I learned how to be a man. You know, how to be strong with myself and want to get something out of life.
In many ways, you talk about being up at Folsom the way I talk about going to Syracuse or Stanford, right?
That's university.
That was my university.
And Folsom, San Quentin, places like that is our university. That's the only place we get to learn.
The first time I was arrested, I was, what, 10 years old for breaking an entry. And from there on, it was on. Back and forth, in and out of jail. But the last time I served 5 years for attempted murder, armed robbery. And I ain't been back since then because I don't plan to go back.
Talk to me about what's going on right now.
As far as
the violence, yeah, with the riots, with the Rodney King thing.
It's just a lot of built-up anger and frustration. You know what I'm saying? They saying that, well, we burning down our own community. I mean, we don't own none of these liquor stores. Every so many yards you walk is liquor stores. You know, we don't own none of this. The brothers is just frustrated, man. They just got fed up with it.
And we say come together as blacks and let's make a point here and a stage to the United States of America that blacks are not down no more. They got to come back up. We got to come back up and stand together.
When you talk about coming together,
coming together as a whole.
Symbolically, we could talk about the Crips and the Bloods, right? Now
we ain't talking about that. This ain't one of them things.
It isn't?
No.
Explain to me.
It's not one of them things for us, Crips or Bloods, or going and robbing a liquor store, or going down the street and looting the market or something like that. You know, what you talking about?
When he says blacks come together, it's not just that's not the only place we're divided. That's just one small fragment of it. You got Crips, you got the Bloods, you got the Muslims, you got the Christians, you got the black on black crime, you got the bourgeois blacks, you got the lower class blacks. You know, we as a people, we're divided in many different elements. You know, not only the Crips and Bloods. The only thing people focus on the Crips and Bloods so hard is because of the death toll. You know what I'm saying? Like the West Bank and the West Bank and Israel. You know what I'm saying? The same way, the death toll.
Yeah, you know what? They always want to shine a spotlight on us when there's a drive-by shooting and an innocent victim has been hurt. But what about that? What about that flyby that the United States just did on Iraq?
And killed 500 babies off top.
We can't excuse anything that happens anywhere, anytime, anyhow, if we're going to point to what governments do and say, well, if governments do that, that makes anything that anybody else does.
I never said it made right. No,
but let's not use that as an argument right now. What I'm trying to say is, what's it going to take to get this community straight? What's it going to, and when I talk about this community, I don't mean this little community right here. I mean Los Angeles, white, black, Korean, Hispanic.
Okay. You got people who've been working 10, 15 years out of jobs now, and now they're right down here in the same so-called melting pot or the same boat with us, and so everybody has animosity towards everybody. Now some of the people who never wanted to go to our school systems are going to the same school systems with our children, and now we got all different cultures right here on the bottom. They say LA is such a diverse and multicultural community, in which it is, but the communication broke down because you got your Koreans feeling they're better than the blacks, you got the Latinos feeling they're better than the Mayatas, you know, but we've been here on the bottom for the longest. Now they're dropping a little bit of everybody in here, and this is where the problems are starting to come, you know, and now it's not just a black, white thing. You know, when somebody say that now it's a rich, poor thing.
Let me ask you a very provocative question. This may make you all angry when I ask you the question, but before the Koreans, it was the Jews, right, who used to own the stores, and you were just as angry at the Jews as you are now against the Koreans. And if the Koreans ever pull out, then it'll be the Laotians or the Cambodians or the Vietnamese or someone will move in. Why is it that black people can't run those stores and make money?
Because
go ahead.
When you get a foreigner that can come to this country and step to a bank and get $20,000 with no problem, they can open a business any way they want to. You see what I'm saying? But now here I am, I can't even get a bank account. Born and raised in America.
It's too easy to say they can just walk into a bank and get a $20,000 loan. You know, banks don't give out loans like that unless there's some kind, unless they got something. Collateral, exactly.
The collateral they get, you, like you said, you got your grandfathers, you got your fathers, you got all these generations who had something You know, maybe not a lot. Maybe that second generation of grandfather had a piece of property and he passed it down. But like our forefathers ain't never had pieces of property. They always been renters.
The only thing that we can pass on is the fact that
there you go.
My father may have been a criminal because he had to feed his family and couldn't get a job. And then he became a criminal because he had to break in or rob and steal and do what he had to do to feed his family. He got that to hand down to me. So now I got that to hand down to my son.
Bo, let me ask you a question. You got children?
Yes.
All right. I was talking to Little Monster before. I mean, we said it on camera, so I hope you won't be offended if I say to these men here. And I said to him that I was sure if I asked him if he was afraid of getting killed, he'd say he's not afraid. But if I put the question differently and say, how do you feel about your little boy? That's a different thing, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
You know, that's my jewels. That's really all I got. You know, that's what brightens up my life. You know, their innocence, just their, you know, the way they feel about me. Of course, I mean,
as you all over
any
again.
human being.
Yeah,
you know, we can lose a child in a car accident. You're gonna feel the same way. You know, of course, I don't want my daughters. I got daughters, or I'm sure he doesn't want his son to walk into his footsteps. You know, I'm not trying to raise my sons or daughter as a bad gangster. Right. You know, they don't even know. All they know me by is daddy. Not Bone, not no gangster or nothing. They don't know none of that. So when they look at me, they see daddy, the provider. You know what I'm saying? I love them, they love me back.
So what is it that's going to change things for your little girl?
First of all, my little girls don't even stay in this community. First of all, so that part is covered.
Why?
Why? Because they don't live in this community.
Why not?
Because I'd rather have them live elsewhere.
Why?
The same reason you don't want to live here.
Safe zone.
The same reason.
I want you to say it. I mean, you know, let's be honest with you.
Nobody wants to raise their kids in a war zone.
You're afraid for them, right?
Yeah. I'm afraid not only for them, for anybody's kids. Not only just for my kids.
If you can, do that, because this is such a common sight in our community. This is such a common sight of funeral procession.
And those are Crips right
there.
Yeah,
they are.
235.
See, Ted, now you're in jeopardy right now. You don't even know it. One of them cars can easily pull up and say, oh, they're going to park boards right here. And they can come right here with an AK-47, and you are in jeopardy. Right now, you are in jeopardy.
As you can see, a person right there throwing up signs.
You see him throwing up signs? You see him throwing up signs at us?
That's one of the reasons why I want our kids around here.
This is what he's talking about. I'm going to show you something else you didn't see. You see Freddie Cole gone. You know why?
Why?
Because he's finna try to protect us. He's got some stashed around here. So if they try to do what they might do, he's gonna try to, you know what I'm saying, protect us.
No, there was a California highway patrolman.
No, that wasn't a highway patrolman.
No,
that was a funeral guard.
Funeral guard. Yeah. So he's not carrying.
Oh no,
he ain't got no gun.
Yeah. Now, that was
his job is to stop traffic.
That was a very, 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 very small funeral. You know, there's been times when funerals come by here,
been loved.
and 2 or 3 cars pull here and they shoot, and the homies shoot back, and they went right down Broad, right there. Really, that was disrespect to us right there. You know, but really, they having a funeral, maybe if they wouldn't fly in their colors, it wouldn't have been disrespect. You see, they had them on their antenna, so they wanted us to know. They didn't come by here just by accident. They could have took Maine, they could have took any other street they wanted. Yeah. You know, but they came right past Athens, parked them, you know.
All right, now do you understand how someone like me, who hasn't grown up here,
yeah, I understand that,
thinks that's just crazy?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not bad enough that whoever that young man is died. Now someone else has got to die.
See, but I'm gonna tell you something. The death of a loved one will motivate you to kill.
Look, there's nothing new in all of this, right? This is as old as human beings, right? What I'm trying to get to here is, throughout history, nations have stayed at war or have gone to war every 30, 40, 50 years because they're not able to do what you say you're not able to do. They're not able to forget.
They're dead.
They're not able to forget they're dead.
I can tell you what will make people forget they're dead. And it's very simple. We've seen it for the last 3 days. Common ground. Now, for the last 3 days, we ain't been tripping off our dead homeboys. Yeah. They ain't been tripping off their dead homeboys. We tripping off these police.
But the fact of the matter is, the cops out there, in the long run, no, wait, let me finish. They're going to outgun you. Either they're going to outgun you on their own, or the National Guard's going to come in, the Marines come in, the 1st Airborne comes in, whoever the hell it is that comes in, and sooner or later, we're going to have nothing but funerals going through here.
All right. But you know what? Let me tell you something, though. Sometimes it's an honor to die fighting against the stabbers. I'll give you a case in point. I watched those little youngsters on the Gaza strips throw rocks at the Israels while the Israelites just shoot them down with guns. I watched them arm themselves with rocks, and they die with honor. You know what I'm saying? I heard some of the homeboys say, if I go out, man, this is the way I want to go out, trying to get me one of them.
But let me tell you the difference between a leader and a real leader. The easy answer right now
I know where you're going.
is to get everybody angry against the police, is to get everybody angry against the establishment. The more difficult answer, the more difficult form of leadership is to be able to say, that's not an answer. We've got to get beyond that. Because when the killing's over, we're still going to have to put, we're going to have to clean up. We're going to have to rebuild these buildings. We're going to have to start businesses again. We're going to have to find homes again. We don't want our children to be killed. We want them to have an education. We want their lives to be better than our lives were. Right? Am I right?
Right. And it's going to happen.
How?
And it's going to happen because the bottom is going to come to the top, and the top's going to go to the bottom. So what we feeling today, you might feel tomorrow.
Let me say this, Ted.
Maybe not in my lifetime, but maybe not my kid's lifetime. But it's going to happen.
Let me say this, Ted. You know, I went to college. I took history 7 times because it was so thrilling to me. Okay, and one thing that I've learned through history is that every great empire will fall and be turned upside down. And America's an empire that will eventually fall. It's still a relatively young country, 200 and some odd years old. But it will fall just like the Romans fell, just like the French fell, just like the Egyptians fell. It will fall.
When you and I were driving over here, you told me that, I don't remember your exact words, but I don't think I'm far off, that the greatest document you've ever read, better than the Bible, was the U.S. Constitution.
That's right.
Tell me what you meant.
What I meant is that the way it was worded and what it should actually stand for, if it stood for what it actually should, it would be the greatest thing ever. And still today, it's the greatest piece of paper ever written. It's the greatest words ever put on paper. But those laws, the Constitution does not apply to us.
That's right.
What does apply to us is the 14th Amendment, which says slavery is abolished except upon conviction. Now, ask these brothers out here if they have any convictions. I bet you every brother out here got a conviction.
That's right.
So we've been a slave at one point in time or another.
California has, I forgot how, I think 36 prisons in one state. 36, and they're still building.
And still building. On a daily basis.
That's right. They got a 24-hour building going on. It's called the Twin Tower Correctional Facilities. Right down there, right across the street from already a county jail.
Right, down in downtown LA.
Right. They're building another correctional facilities right on Imperial and Atlantic, right in the community. So these guys who live in these projects, he's liable to go to jail and be right across the street from where he lived and watch his mother go to work all day while he's doing time.
But it's like this. If they think that they're going to play our community that close by putting a plantation right in the heart of our community and we're not going to get our people out of there, they're sadly mistaken. Sadly mistaken.
From streets of violence to a house of worship, 2 places that would seem at odds but now are united in outrage and determination. We go back once again to the First AME Church.
We got to do some stuff for ourselves and also bring our collective power to bear and deal not with Ted Koppel, but deal with our elected officials here, our mayor, our city council, our police department, and all the other folk, our governor, all the other folk who can do something about changing the stuff that's got to be changed in Los Angeles. Okay, now you.
Well, I know that Ted Koppel is who he is, and I know that Ted Koppel's only represents the mentality of white racism in America. I heard him refer to all of the giants in our community as you people several times. What does you people mean? And you folks mean, when are we going to have the opportunity to be mad because we deserve to be? What do we have to wait for? We are upset, we are mad because we have seen our black men killed, we have seen our black men castrated, our children murdered and shot in the head. When do we have the right to be mad? When do you people have a right to be mad and vent anger?
Ma'am, you have the right to be mad, you have the right to be angry, but let me with all respect, do you want an answer? Would you like an answer? May I give you an answer?
If you could.
I can understand if you think that every single white man, woman, and child in this country has a tinge of racism in them, but you've also got to believe that there are gradations. Some of us are worse than others, some of us are better than others, and if we're ever going to have a dialogue with one another, if we're ever going to reach our hands out to one another, you can't lump us all together any more than we can lump you all together.
Yeah, in the green cap, the brother.
Listen, my point is this, people. Maxine Waters is about to walk out the room because we are seeming so weak. And My appreciation is to you, Ted Koppel, but look, we are seeming so weak that we are asking Ted Koppel the questions. I was at my apartment building. The building next door to me was burning down. I called the fire department. They said, put it out your damn self. We have to put this fire out our damn selves. We cannot rely on the white man to give us answers. All respect to you, but we cannot rely on him. The answer lies with us, within this community. We've been giving our own food out to our own people because our grocery stores are down. We cannot go out to Culver City because all the white people in those grocery stores. We've got to do it for ourselves. And we have to ask these black leaders. We have to give them ideas so they can take it to the world.
Right.
They don't have all the ideas in the world. They're coming to us. We have to think. We cannot just ask somebody else to think for us. We have to start thinking for ourselves, telling them what we think so they can take it to the world.
That's right.
Thank you.
Brother, you want to say it's weak, you lay it on you. I done heard about weak brothers. I see somebody over 5, he's not a weak brother. If he's surviving, he's here.
That's
now,
right.
as for my statement, I'd like to know how you seem to think that we can achieve some type of parity between my interface and your interface. I'd like to know how we could get that established if, in fact, we're looking at a situation where you have cause and effect, and I see for cause 1% shown about Rodney King and our dilemma, but I see 99% relating to effect, and that would be the riot. I see narrators and news people telling us that there will be a riot coming on. I turn on a riot. Then I see them for 20, 30 some hours say, look at that. There goes people carrying a sofa, a television, irregardless. My point is, you're talking about slanted. If we do not alleviate the cause, then you're going to always have the effect. We lived in Beverly Hills. You better believe it. We wouldn't be burning the houses, but there's nothing to burn out there. If you burn one store in a neighborhood and you got to go out of the neighborhood to shop, you're shot already.
You and the sister there.
I'm a business owner in this community. I employ over 500 people a year, and I have to struggle every Friday to make my payroll. But I make it, and I've made it for the last 9 years without one bank loan or anything like that. I'll employ 5,000 people if I could. I would, and I'd struggle to make that payroll every Friday. I don't cry to anyone. In 1987, the police stopped me and my children and pulled me out of my car and laid me down on the ground. And I didn't scream and yell. I don't know what the statute of limitations is on civil rights and human rights in this state or in this country, but I do believe that I can do it, and I think that this community can do it. What we need to start to teach each other is how to do business. How to do business. We want economic empowerment. We have it in the midst of our community. Let's do that.
Okay, sister, right there.
I would like to say to America, and I would like to say, I was a former Marine, a corporal. I served my country proud from 1982 to 88. I served in countries where I saw poverty and deprivation, bodies that would rot out on the ground. Lebanon be one of them. But you know what? I never was ashamed to wear that patch. Let's don't turn Ted Koppel into the man in the truck and beat him down. Let's be one of those 4 men that took up that man and saw indecency. And let's show America we are the moral fiber of this country. We will take back this country back to the grassroots. And I would like to say this to a president. I'm going to be ashamed. I took a lot of heat. I voted for Reagan. Yes, I did. I was in the service. Hey, I was in the service at the time. I felt right. I voted for Bush. I felt right for myself. Listen, for what I'm saying, the one thing I will say, I'm going to be to the point. One thing I'll say, I voted at 18 years old. I was a responsible. You don't ridicule a young black man at 18 voting. I at least voted. And one thing I will say, President Bush, I put you in office with my vote. Before we go to Russia and spend that money, before I go to Czechoslovakia and bail them out, I asked just for the opportunity to make a difference in this country as a young black man, and before my own black brothers ridicule me for voting for that man, I exercised my right where a lot of us didn't exercise right, and I voted and I served my country well. Thank you.
All right, the brother right here. Quiet.
I don't have a question. You ask why this is happening? Because my country, 'tis of thee, is a racist land of liberty. Land where my father died because he was chained and he was tied from every mountainside injustice rings. No justice, no peace. First there was quiet, then there was a riot. This was a dedication to Rodney King, who was riding down the road, 9 out of 10 didn't do a thing. Just the color of his skin was enough to bring him in, dead or alive, lucky to survive. We all saw it on the news show, LAPD Gestapo. And thanks to the video that was shown and shown, the whole world knows what black folks have always known. Out in the street, don't worry about the thief, you better worry about the police chief. We'd rather have the inmates than have Daryl Gates and be living in the police states. No justice, no peace. First there was quiet, then there was a riot.
Thank you.
The anger has roots, and even in this century, the roots are deep. The Washington Post pulled together an extraordinary article this morning, 11 examples of racial disorders and riots going back to 1917, and 11 commissions named to study the causes, and 11 reports spanning most of this century and reaching essentially the same basic conclusions. We'll give Bones rap group O.F.T.B. the final word tonight. Riot number 12, the bloodiest of them all. This is not a commission report, but it summarizes the conditions.
Most of the youngsters raised in the projects of South Central Los Angeles dream of one day getting out. The fact is, most won't succeed. These neighborhoods are mired in poverty.
Inmates serving time in the ghetto. Burn these white sheets and send hell to the devil. I ain't beating around the bush, I'm going straight to the point. The streets where we live is almost similar to the joint. Community correctional facility. O.F.T.B. kicks reality. Street mentality. Lockdown. Community development. They tell us stop bitching, but it's relevant. Steel bars surrounding the projects. A watch if we keep our mouths closed. It'll never stop, but they don't think so, it's subliminal. If a brother's on the street, he's a criminal. When you're living in poverty, crazy you gotta be, cause ain't nobody out here looking out for me but me. And that's why the bottom posse's bitching. We're living in the projects, poverty stricken.